Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Hey, hello, how are you today?
Hello there, Mr. Jones, sir. The news broke this morning, as I believe you have seen if I adjust the camera so quick. Some news broke this morning.
Perfect face for radio. I don't know why you're doing that.
The face for radio. Penn State men's basketball center Sasa Ciani has entered the transfer portal. He is now the 9th Penn State player to enter. So Penn State, I believe, now has another slot open on the roster. That is the latest on the Penn State basketball front. In terms of transfers, of course, we've discussed this already, who's coming in, who's coming out, but he is the latest to now exit Happy Valley.
You have to get a lot of this done quickly, early, which they've done. I mean, they've made a lot of moves in a short period of time. Now you're getting to the point with 2,600 out there of people that are in the same spot as Penn State, trying to fill their rosters at this point, which means as you're trying to fill the roster, as much as you may think that there's bidding going on when you first get out of the gate, which there is, now more desperation sets in across the entire landscape. I don't care whether you're North Carolina or you're Penn State or whomever you happen to be, to now fill out the last 2 or 3 spots. And now people have zeroed in on certain guys, and there might be more bidding for these guys as well.
Yes.
So when that happens, to me, it's not always bad, right? When they declare for the transfer portal. Now, I don't know how much these guys were making, but that's money you can put together because you're trying to reshape your roster. And I mean, that's what you're trying to do. And remember, Tim Obo's come in, so you do have the center spot 1, 2. You'd like to have a third guy there, which fine. But at the same time, you may be zeroing in on somebody else, another shooter somewhere that can really make a difference for you. And now, in your money sphere, right? Sometimes guys going into the portal isn't that bad because now you can take whatever resources were going there to begin with and you can put it into a bid for somebody else.
As things sit, Penn State has, I believe, 9 total players on the roster. You have Urich, Reggie Grodin returning. You also have Chris Latito.
Yep.
On the new addition front, you have Rogers, Obo, Blooms, Byers, Weibo, and Percussion. So you have 9 total players on the roster.
Right.
8, I believe, on scholarship. I don't believe Latito's on scholarship.
Chris is not. No.
So you've got
Chris will walk out.
So you have 8 on scholarship. So you've got hypothetically 4 slots.
If you
want,
yeah, you can.
Penn State will need to fill up the roster, though. I presume, just me saying this as a general thing of
you have to.
You have to because you have to have bodies as well. Injuries happen.
There were several games this season where Penn State had 9 available scholarship players. I'd say, when I say several, several's probably right. I'd say 3 or 4 games. Usually, to me, it's a couple. 3 is a few, and several's 4. So it's probably about 4 games this year where Penn State had 9 available scholarship players. So those are the injuries you're talking about. Because they went the Michigan game. They had 8 available scholarship players, something like that. And it's just, and that's where you are with this. That's why you do need more bodies, but it's not as if these moves are not coming out of the blue. The only one to me that's come out of the blue was Jamison White, but that's me. I'm not saying the staff didn't know, but that's the one I didn't know. The other ones, not one of them has surprised me at all. And if I'm not surprised by it, there's a good chance the staff's not surprised by it. So you plan around it, and you figure, okay, what are our current resources? And now you go out and you start trying to put together contracts for people to see if you can get them to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah. I think I'm just more surprised at it coming from my side of things, of seeing the fact that the roster is, you've only had now the 3 returners of Latito, Grodin, Juric. I know we discussed the idea that a lot of players were going to enter the portal. Penn State women's basketball is in the same spot where Coach Wright comes in, and it was, the team didn't play well last year. I think they went 11-19. There was going to be a whole lot of turnover happening on the women's basketball side.
I think one player stayed.
I think one player has stayed. They brought in Banks from UCF, a commit.
Yeah.
So they've started the process of rebuilding the women's team and the men's team pretty much almost wholesale. Like, this has been a general wholesale change for the basketball rosters as a whole for both sides of things, where you've had, 4 total players essentially for 2 teams that are returning.
But this is the story everywhere in college basketball now. This is not a unique story to Penn State. So, I mean, there are guys that have put their names into the portal where I've sat back and went, really? Like John Blackwell was like the first one. I sat back and went, really?
And Blackwell looks like he's now going to be going to Duke, is the most likely.
Right. And like Devin Royal. I mean, again, I'm not around those programs every day like I am here. But it is, it's stunning, some of the names I've seen in the portal. I realize that people get, like Mullins isn't going to the draft. He's going to stay at UConn. Solo Ball's out for the year with a wrist injury. But take a long look at everybody else, and the turnover is tremendous. For example, let's take UCLA women's basketball. They just won the national championship. The center, terrific player.
Lauren Betts.
Right, Lauren Betts. But Lauren Betts did not start her career at UCLA. She told UCLA no and went someplace else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing from ESPN about Mike Tomlin joining NBC. And this is the way everything is now. I mean, the player of the year I voted for in the Big Ten was at UAB a year ago. Okay. Now, Braden Smith, the guy I voted for the previous 2 years, has been his entire career at Purdue. Purdue is one of the rarities out there. And that is, I mean, this is how everybody's doing it.
I know Northwestern's brought in a couple players.
They've had
a lot leave.
I mean, Trey Singleton left.
Page left. Reed left. It's.
I mean, it is. Guys are going to what they perceive to be the highest bidder. Yeah, I can get more out there, so I'm going to go. Okay. Well, the current system allows you to do that. So I can't sit there and gripe about the current system because there's nothing illegal about the current system. There's nothing illegal about it.
No.
And this is right now the system as to how you do it. And I don't know. It's difficult to coach in this era because of it. There was it's difficult to coach in this era because of it, because there are guys that relish the ability to develop players. A lot of, like relish the idea of developing players. And Adam Schefter, Mike Tomlin goes to NBC. I mean, it's like everybody knows it already. What the heck? Making it seem like it's all breaking news. And there's no development anymore. Who's developing players?
I'd say the school developing players would probably be Florida and UConn and Purdue. And in terms of Florida, of course, they brought in a bunch of players, but they've also been returning a lot of guys year over year. They won the championship. Right. They brought in some guys to win it, but they've been bringing players back. So Thomas Huff is returning. Ruben Chinyelu, the center, has announced either he's going to return, but he's going to go through the draft process.
Which is fun.
Same thing as Yannick last season. Alex Condon, I believe, is the same from Florida. So they're bringing back a lot of guys from this past year's team. Florida is now in a very interesting place. So some news that has happened today. Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, announced he is stepping down as head coach. Right. The Bulls fired Arturas Kanishevas and the number 2 in charge of the Bulls. They're kind of doing a full rebuild there. And after reportedly a week of talking, Billy Donovan has decided to step down from the organization. Donovan, of course, is one of the big names discussed for the UNC job before Michael Malone got that. Right. But Billy Donovan, of course, Steve Jones coached where in the past?
Oh, Florida.
Florida. And Florida is interesting.
I could have said Marshall. If you
could have said Marshall. But Florida is a more interesting place because Todd Golden is there currently.
Don't tell the people at Marshall that.
Yeah. Where did Todd Golden coach before going to Florida? Do you know?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. The current San Francisco basketball team is who?
The Dons? I mean, you talk about the Warriors?
The Golden State Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Steve Kerr is out of contract. He has said he's undecided on returning. It has been discussed quite highly. The Lacob family is quite close with the USF basketball program and was quite close with Todd Golden before he left for the Florida job. Mm-hmm. There is a now conversation of, let's say Kerr does not return. Yeah. Who is the number one option? As of now, reports have been it's Todd Golden. Let's say Golden goes to Golden State. Who then is the hot candidate for the Florida job? Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
And then what job is open? The Chicago Bulls job. And so it is just like a musical chairs and domino effect of one happening after the other. We are unaware at the moment of Steve Kerr and his future with the Warriors. Of course, they're going to give him time to decide what he wants to do. He is out of contract with the Warriors, so we don't know exactly his future. He can kind of do what he wants to. This kind of was the last gasp year of Steph Curry is now getting older. Draymond Green has had up and down this year. They're kind of at the point where they need to fully rebuild.
There's no more Klay Thompson. He left a while ago.
No more Klay Thompson's gone. Iguodala's been gone. It's just kind of like
right. But
Curry's there, and Curry will stay until he wants to leave.
This is how pro sports works. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to have the long run that the Warriors had, right? Because the reason, look, for the most part, the Warriors, until they got Kevin Durant, really were built through the draft.
They were. Steph Curry drafted. Right. Klay Thompson drafted. Draymond Green drafted.
And I remember, so I'm going to go back. Oh, boy. I'd say back to the 10-11 season, 11-12 season, right around there. And I'm doing this show at the time. And I made the statement on the show. I said, I know that record-wise they aren't a great team, but boy, the team I really enjoy watching play are the Golden State Warriors. And the reason is they could score. They were fun to watch. They'd fire up threes. I said, fun team to watch grow. I said, let's see how they grow. Okay? And we have tapes all over the place. You want to go back, you can find it.
Yeah. Well,
because I talked about it several times. Well, then all of a sudden, they got a little bit better because they got older. And a little bit better, they got older. And they grew together. Yes, they added in Andre Iguodala because you do need a piece. Everybody needs a veteran piece to get them over the top. I mean, even the Dodgers, as great as they are, added in a veteran piece this year in Kyle Tucker, for example. So even the teams that are winning at the top still add in veteran pieces. Well, they add in a veteran piece, then eventually then they added in the big one with Kevin Durant.
They became an incredible team and then said, well, this cap spiked, and they're like, we have the ability to go get the best player.
But they've won 4. Two of them with Durant, 2 of them without Durant.
And I still believe the winner, 2022.
The winner over the Celtics was a great moment for them. And again, the Celtics weren't quite there yet.
No.
And so then they changed up and they added in Drew Holiday, they added in Kristaps Porzingis. They added in veteran pieces that were different than what they had and then became a champion in their own right.
I still think that is the most impressive championship this past 5 or so years in terms of any team. Like that year, like Steph willed them to win.
He was great.
And he had the most incredible 4-game stretch to make sure they got that title.
He was great, So you're not supposed to have this long stretch, to my point. My point is they grew together, they added in some veteran parts, but they put together a 15-year stretch of expectation. And people expected them to be in the thick of what was going on every year. Even when they were in the play-in round, people still had expectations for Golden State, and they still happen to be one of the teams ratings-wise that the NBA relied on because of Steph Curry. Steve Kerr did a great job and has done a great job as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. People may, they may get all bent out of shape about it, using his press conferences as a political stance. But as a basketball coach, which is what we talk about, the basketball part, the guy has done a great job. And remember, when he came out, okay, they were going to pick, he was offered the Knicks job.
He was offered the Knicks job.
And he took Golden State. And at the time, people were like, New York? How can you turn down New York? How can you turn down the Knicks? Well, he knew exactly what he was doing.
He did.
Right.
And he went to that Warriors team that for the past 2 seasons had built up under Mark Jackson. So the 2011-12 team was 23-43. That was rookie Klay Thompson, 2 years Steph Curry, then 22-3. With Mark Jackson, they got 47-35. They lost to the Spurs in the playoffs that season. They beat the Nuggets in round 1, lost to the Spurs. Yeah. The next year, they lost to the Clippers in that 7-game series where it went down to just the wire, and the Clippers said that was the toughest series they've ever played, where it was just like a slugfest. And then 14-15, Steve Kerr comes in. What do? They win the whole shebang.
He took over for Mark Jackson.
And that team was Steph Curry, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Klay Thompson, just guys across the board.
Terrific team. Yeah, but you're not supposed to have this kind of run in pro sports today.
Yeah.
In any sport.
No.
In other words, the Tampa Bay Lightning had a great run. And now it's, they're a playoff team, but they're not what they were. Right? The Florida Panthers have back-to-back Stanley Cups. They're not even, no shot this year. Right? Pro sports, there's a shelf life on everything. We're about to live part of that shelf life the end of this week with the NFL draft, because it's schedule and draft are supposed to be part of the equalizing formula in sports today. And that's, and age. Age is the other part. Age and contracts, okay?
Yeah.
Because guess what? Every year you're in the league as a veteran, guess what you do? You earn more, right? Nobody's out there. I have a 5-year deal. Well, guess what? In everybody's 5-year deal, the number in the 5th year is higher than the number in the 1st year, right? That's why you sign a 5-year deal. Nobody signs a 5-year deal of, I'm going to make less money the last 3 years of it, but the first 2 years, who signs that? Right? The only way that happens is if you're doing front-loaded bonuses.
Yeah.
Everybody makes more in the base year-by-year contract all the time. So by age and contract number, now they're trying to figure out within the cap how to make an aging athlete work. See, that's the difference between pro sports and college sports. Okay? College sports, everybody's looking for a number. And you can probably, let's just take a basic 15-man roster college basketball and say you want to give away 15 scholarships. Okay? In college basketball, you've got to pay 12, 13, 14, and 15. You have to pay them, right? And you got to, you probably have to outbid somebody to get them. In the pros, I can front load here, front load there, front load here, and guess what? I can get undrafted free agents to get me 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Which means I can get them in the professional sense on the cheap.
Yeah. And that's why the two-way exists, because it allows you to have basically.
Well, that's those are roster in the NBA. Those are roster spots 16 and 17. You have 17 roster spots. 16 and 17 are the two ways.
Yeah. And in terms of the Warriors, it was viewed as 2018-19 season was kind of their real shot, their last final shot, of course. That's when Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant both get hurt. Then, of course, they go on the next season. They go 15-50. Steph gets hurt. Draymond gets hurt. Clay's still not back. Durant's, of course, gone. Like, it was just like this is the end of this iteration. They're going to kind of take that next year to reprocess in 2020, 21. And then they kind of did the next year in 21, 22 when Clay is back. They're all back and healthy. They won. And it was like, this isn't meant to be because of shelf life. Because it's like, you're at this point where Steph Curry, I believe, was at year 12 of his career. You've got him, Draymond, Iguodala was on his last legs. Kuminga was his rookie. Moses Moody was his rookie. It was just this weird team.
That's the way pro sports works. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are sitting there after having really one of the more dominant offensive lines, which meant everything to them. And Jason Kelce retires, but they had Juergens. They groomed him, the whole thing. But during the year, Juergens gets hurt. Dickerson gets hurt, right? One guy that been a key to it, Becton, gone, right? Signed a free agent contract. Lane Johnson got hurt. And like suddenly, like people are like, I don't understand why they aren't doing well. And then Jeff Stoutland leaves.
Yeah.
Because the new offensive coordinator wanted to have power over every part of the offense. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's your deal, that's your deal. I mean, but you can't keep teams like Steeler fans. The Aaron Rodgers thing drives them nuts. But the problem is the Steelers have been, let's go back to the NBA. They've essentially been the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Good enough to make the playoffs, never good enough to get out of the first round, which means not bad enough to be in the lottery. Well, that's the Steelers. They keep drafting. This year it's 21. Well, they keep drafting between 20 and 26 almost every year.
Because they're not good enough to win, but they're not bad enough to lose.
Right. But at the same time, when you're drafting 20 to 26 every year, it's not that you're drafting 20 to 26 every year. You're drafting 20 to 26 in every round, which means you are now drafting 52 to 58, which means you're now drafting 84 to 90. See, I mean, like, you're not drafting, you know, everybody's talking about, hey, the Giants have 2 picks in the top 10. Well, the Giants earned their first one, right? They traded for the second one, but they earned their first one by poor performance. And that is, I mean, that's the way pro sports is now. Pro sports is now about shelf life. Bill Belichick was thought to be cold and heartless all the time with the Patriots. I got it. I understand it. But it goes back to the Bill Walsh comment when he was negotiating with, I believe it was Randy Cross. And Walsh was the GM. And he looked at Randy Cross and said, I think you've got 2 really good years left in you. And Cross wanted a 5-year deal. He said, but I'm not going to pay you for 5 years, so the other 3 years you're not going to be good enough. I only want to pay you for 2. Randy Cross, but I've given you so much. It doesn't matter what you have given them.
But you can still give.
What they think you can still give. Right? And that was, we always talk about shelf life with the Patriots. Well, now we've seen shelf life play out with the Golden State Warriors. Steph is at or near the end. Klay Thompson's no longer there. Draymond Green has been on the backside of, has been on the back nine of his life in basketball for the last probably 4 or 5 years. I mean, you'd probably scream at me in this podcast if you ever heard me say that. And they haven't filled in enough guys around them, including when they had a draft. Was it Wiseman they picked?
James Wiseman was picked early. Of course, Kuminga was a whole discussion. Moses Moody. They have that group that was there, and they won with them, and it was viewed as this 2 timeline thing, but that's just not how it works.
No.
If it's 2 timelines, it's got to work out for both timelines, and it has not.
It is not. And so you have to make a decision as a franchise. And the Steelers made the decision, if we do just enough, we'll stay relevant, do just enough, we'll stay relevant. the Golden State Warriors have essentially done the same thing. We'll do just enough to stay relevant, right there. We're still relevant, right? But then all of a sudden they hit the first week of May and they find out they're irrelevant.
Yeah. And tomorrow we'll talk all things Penn State football before we lead on into the draft on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on